And what is up, everybody? It is Chris Akin back once again for another edition of Chris Akin Presents. And joining me, as always, my partner in crime, Mr. Erik Ferentinos. Erik, how are you, man?
Doing very well, Chris. Thanks for having me on again and again and again.
Hey, it's your show. I'm just on it. This is the Erik Ferentinos show with Chris Akin. Just somewhat conveniently named Chris Akin Presents, but dude, I got to start the show off right from the beginning with a bitch. Not at you, at your road manager, Jason Green.
Oh, no.
I have a clear bitch for Mr. Green. Apparently, he has our fans thinking that you're sick and in the hospital.
Right.
As we got started tonight, I get this message on YouTube on a CMS video. I just saw Erik had a health emergency in Ohio. I sure hope he pulls through.
I did.
So here he is. He's pulled through. Of course, Jason released his video from that gig, which was what, 7 months ago or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Today.
He's a little behind. That's something that he does on the side. Of course, he has his Wasting Time with Jason Green, which they do all kinds of different interviews and stuff. But then as he's out tour managing with us, he's always taken footage so he could use it. But he had a bunch of footage that he had to catch up on. So he's about 6 months behind. And I did see the Pickerton episode today. And it was emotional, man, for me to see. Not the beginning part, like the first half an hour is just him and Monaco traveling. It does show you how shitty it is traveling.
Nice.
But my thing kind of came in later, and I didn't know what to expect. I was kind of watching it. I knew it was going to be on, and it was just weird to get taken back to the day that this tragic thing happens for you.
Right.
You know, where you're getting to see everything that led up to it. You know, you're watching the sound check. You're watching me, after the sound check in a good mood. I was like, woo, walking by, got up on stage, great crowd. Luckily I completed the show and it didn't affect the concert itself, but just seeing, the timeline go on during his video, it just gave me anxiety just like watching it, Luckily, he didn't like film me getting carted off in an ambulance and all that, but
right. Well, watching it, I'm curious, watching it and seeing yourself. Now, you know yourself better than any of us ever would. Can you watch it and say, yeah, I look kind of fucked up there, or I look normal, or how do you see it?
Well, certainly watching these 6-month-old videos, I'm way fatter. And I'm kind of like, God, everyone's going to think I'm this fat right now. And I'm not. I actually lost 25 pounds, maybe even more than that, maybe 30 pounds.
Okay.
When I watch these, the first thing I notice is my fat ass everywhere. But, heart disease, it's not something that, started 6 months ago. It just runs in my family. My mother had the same issue. She didn't have a heart attack, but she got the stents put in at age 50 also.
Okay, wow.
My dad has the same thing. So it is heart disease, it's hereditary. I actually, believe it or not, I had a doctor's appointment today.
Okay.
To go over recent blood work that I had done. I thought I could share the appointment with you guys if you want to hear it.
Let's hear this. Let's hear if you're healthy or if we need to start scolding you.
So this isn't even my cardiologist. I almost forgot this appointment today. It was postponed. Initially, it was for 3 weeks ago. I had got some blood work done. I was supposed to be back, and then we had the Vegas thing, the Chris Angel thing came up. So I had to postpone my Monday appointment for today.
Okay.
But here, this was the guy. I didn't tell him I was recording, but whatever. I'll let you guys hear my quick appointment. This whole appointment, and I won't play the whole thing, but it was only like less than 4 minutes.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So let's see here.
For all this stuff going on?
Yeah, it was. Oh, wait. Let me back up here. Sorry.
Yeah, let's get to
Good. Rob Cooper's nice to meet you. Oh, nice to meet you, Erik. Hey, Erik. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Good.
For the most part, yeah.
Good. So I saw Daniel's note. So pretty, must have been quite a shock to you, huh? For all this stuff going on.
Yeah, it was. It was.
You don't smoke?
I quit smoking cigarettes 5 years ago.
Okay. All right. That's good.
One thing that I keep meaning to ask when I'm in there, and maybe you can see from the notes, I know I have a leaking heart valve, and I wanted to tell my family like where that was located.
It's the mitral valve.
The mitral valve.
It's very common. It's not anything at all you need to worry about.
Okay, awesome.
See if I can remember my password here. Hold on.
He was locked out of his computer.
I mean,
Boy, that makes you feel safe, right?
it's different in most of them.
So I believe this was a visit to take a look at my blood work that had been done, which I had to postpone the appointment until today. I was supposed to be in 3 weeks ago or so. But it was to talk about where my cholesterol is at.
It's fantastic. I already saw it.
Oh, it's getting better? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's that goal. Yeah, it's perfect. It's exactly where we want it. So
Look
as long
at
as
you.
you're eating the cholesterol medicine and everything.
So there you go.
Look at you. Jeez, oh man.
My word for it.
You traded pizza for pot and it worked.
That's right. The medicinal marijuana is apparently helping, and I'm to continue it.
Of course, you don't eat anymore. You just smoke weed, but that's all right.
Oh man, I eat.
What do you eat? What do you
I've been
eat
cooking
now?
all weekend. I actually was making a awesome meal for my mother last night. I was doing a early 75th birthday party here at the house. My Greek and Sicilian Italian mother's turning 75, Andrea Ferentinos.
Well, happy birthday, Mom.
Happy early birthday, Mom. Unfortunately, her birthday's Friday, the 20th.
Okay.
And I, Thursday night, will be taking a red eye that won't even get me to Florida till Friday afternoon, the day of her birthday. And then we have a day off. But Saturday, Stephen Piercy is opening for Tesla.
Nice.
And Queen's Reich.
Queen of the Rock.
Ooh, that's goddamn. Would you squeeze your nuts together right there to hit that note?
I'm a natural. I am the most undiscovered talent you've ever seen in the vocal world, man.
I'm impressed. So yeah, we're stoked. That's going to be an awesome show. But it was one of those deals. That's how it is in the music business. You miss shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Luckily, I don't have kids, or I'd be missing a lot of important kid stuff. But it's my mom. That's a milestone birthday. 75. You're not. You know, if you make it to 75, they're like, oh, you got your full life.
Yeah.
That's the average.
Yeah.
So you don't want to miss any birthdays from your parents, you know, at that time. But so what I did was I invited my sister and her husband, and I was gonna have my stepdad and my mom come to the Beat Mansion West here at the beach.
Okay. Nice.
And we got a huge piece of salmon that was like $30, you know, and
Right.
I made a Mediterranean rice. Susie made a tzatziki dip. We had pita crackers. We had shrimp.
All right,
Shrimp
all right, I'm
cocktail.
gonna stop you here.
Okay.
With you eating like this, what the fuck were you eating before? What were you doing? Taco Bell or whatever before that? That's because that's all healthy. I mean, that's all extremely
Right. The
healthy.
Mediterranean diet is a good diet to be on for those inquiring. Before, well, we used to have like hors d'oeuvre parties we do here where we'd have like a shitload of pepperonis and cheese. And
Okay, yeah.
we had chips and salsa. I remember before I even moved in here and I was dating Susan, and Emmy, who's a dear friend of ours, was the roommate, and the three of us would party all the time. And I remember Emmy would go work out, and I remember I was eating chips, and she went to go work out, and I was eating chips and salsa from the time she left till the time she got back. I was still just sitting there eating the chips and salsa. She walked back in. I went, shit, I gotta mellow out. But looking back 6 months ago, I see how fat I was there.
So you feel
I
better
don't want
now.
to get back to that.
Right. So I mean, does it bug you? Does it, like, if somebody's eating something that's like really bad for you but really good, does it annoy you that they're sitting there fucking eating a 2,000 calorie burger or whatever?
Well, you really don't know what's going on the inside. As we've told the fans about, people would think, oh, Chris must definitely have a clogged heart. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
You know, and then Erik, well, he's he's too young for something like this. But we have reversed things. It's like you got nothing going on with your heart.
Dude, that was the craziest shit. When I was in the hospital for COVID last year, you know, they obviously take blood and take, you know, gallons of blood. It seemed like every other minute they were sticking me and taking blood. And they, you know, they of course ran, because you know how the doctors are. They got you in for one thing, they want to get you for everything, and they want to make you feel awful. So they clearly were gunning for me to be they asked me day one, they were like, got diabetes? Nope. Pre-diabetes? Nope. And they were like, really? The doctor even said, really? And I was like, nope. And so they took the blood, and sure as shit, they tested. My blood was fine for, you know, not even pre-diabetic, whatever shows the signs of that. My cholesterol was like 115 or something, like some little number. Like, yeah, I mean, horrendously little. Like, it probably makes you crazy. You look at a piece of pizza and your shit spikes to 280. You know, mine was like 115.
Wow, that is good. Your bad cholesterol or whatever.
Whatever. I don't know. I was
low.
I was out of my mind on fucking not being able to breathe. So I don't know what they were telling me. I just remember the number was 115, my cholesterol. And
that's really good.
And like, even I had the highest blood pressure I've ever had in my life at a doctor's appointment when I went into the hospital, which was 130/70. That was the highest it's ever been.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
that's what mine was today, I think, when I went in there.
Yeah, I mean, that was the highest mine's ever been. It's always like 120/50 or 60 or something. You know, I don't know. I don't pay no attention to that shit. Obviously, I'm not the guy that sits around worrying about his health. But
what's your like temperature? Like, do you run hot or are you normal? Like when you go in, they take that thing on your head and take a temperature.
Oh, I'm always normal, 98, 99.
See, guess what I am?
What are you? White hot, 102.
No. I'm like 96.9
Really?
or like 97. I'm a cool dude.
Now, what does that what causes that? Just your natural coolness?
Exactly. It's an internal coolness.
Nice. Is there a reason? Is there like a medical reason?
Well, I mean, I do tend to like sweat more than other people I've seen.
Okay.
Not that I'm sweating right now really bad, but I'm just saying, you know, I don't know. Maybe I release heat more than other people do.
How do you roll at night?
Fart a lot.
How do you roll at night? Are you like 2 blankets guy, or are you like no blankets guy?
No, I have blankets. I have at least a comforter going right now. It's cold. It does, not to complain. I know
I'm about to fucking jump through this goddamn screen.
But yeah, I know. It drops to like 35, 45.
All right, that's chilly.
And our window's like right here on the ocean, so it does kind of get cold. I'm at night, I'm like takes me a minute. I got flannel sheets right now, which make it a little easier to tolerate. But
yeah, I gotta tell you, dude, at night I'm the worst. I am the worst. I can't get comfortable. It's probably one of the reasons that my eyes are always fucking blackened underneath, because I don't sleep, because I can't get comfortable. I get under a blanket and I'm fucking warm for about 20 minutes, and then I'm scalding. So then I get
the leg out. You pull a leg out.
I do the leg out first, and then before long I've kicked the blankets off, and then I'm freezing.
Right.
So then I flip it back on, but then I turn a fan on. I literally have a fan that sits next to my bed, and I turn the fan on me, not like just on for noise, but on me. And then I get too cold for a minute, then I get too hot again, then I'm just like, fuck it. I'm just staying up. Fuck sleep.
My old place, I had a fan all the time, and I had an upstairs pad, and it was in the summertime. It was brutal. It would get really hot. It had a big parking lot blacktop thing right out front. It seemed like the summer heat would just collect on that thing and then just waft up to my place. Ugh. And it was really bad, man.
No AC?
No AC. Yeah, I would have the windows open. I would put a fan, like you're saying, like right on me. Here it's not that bad. I mean, I think last year we didn't even use a fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm right on the beach.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, on the beach, you get that breeze off the beach, which is nice.
Oh, it's like 10, 15 degrees cooler than where my apartment was. Probably about 3 miles inland from here.
Sure. When I was stationed at Fort Ord, same thing. It never got that was the best weather I ever experienced. I was there 2.5 years. I don't think one day it got under 60 and over 75. It was just fucking
Interesting.
gorgeous there.
You reminded me of something I just heard, on my way home this afternoon. I might be even part of Miramar Air Station,
Okay.
but they just announced that there's this like 2,000 acre compound that they're doing to stick homeless people in.
Oh, nice.
Which I guess I don't know what to think of it. I heard it and I'm like, well, it sounds a lot like a FEMA camp.
Well, it could be.
Generally speaking, nobody around here really likes the homeless element as a Southern California resident. But at the same time, I don't know what happened to each individual that got them where they are. And I will say it's becoming nearly impossible to live here rent-wise.
Oh, I don't doubt, dude. I see fucking people with a lot of wealth leaving. I just saw it today. I was watching Adam Carolla today, and he's leaving, and I'm like, that's a guy that has a lot of money. He has a lot of money. He makes a lot of money, and he's like, fuck it, I'm out of here.
California Robin Hoods these rich people here pretty hard, and they do pay for a lot medical wise and so forth for people that are of low income, but it's been a problem they just can't solve. I mean, they've tried so much weird stuff here. Gavin Newsom, who's an idiot, but he was giving them all a free place to live for a pretty long time up there, like Operation Latchkey or something, where he was just like taking over, paying for motels to house these homeless people. But it brings in crime and drugs and prostitution and
dude, free is never good.
No.
I don't care what anybody says. Free is always bad. Free, even a free concert, when a band that you love plays a free concert, inevitably, tell me if I'm wrong, I'm sure you've played a few of these.
You're not wrong. Go ahead.
Inevitably, there is a fight that breaks out in that audience because you bring in anybody, any fucking dickhead can come in for free. So the money, the ticket cost, it acts as a deterrent to being an asshole. Because you think about it, you're like, oh, I just spent $35. I don't want to get kicked out. But if you haven't spent anything, it's like, who gives a shit?
Exactly. Also, when there are events like that where it's a free show for the fair or whatever, those people are already there anyway, so they're not really your fans per se.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah, you guys make no money on merch. You sell 2 T-shirts out of 20,000 people that are at the fucking tractor pull or whatever, right?
Well, Steven is an icon from the 80s. I mean, he always does meet and greet. Jason takes him out to those. So Jason taking him out and being there and helping him has ensured that he pulls in a certain amount.
Right.
Those.
Sure. But what I'm saying is because I used to, my family, my mom and dad especially, every year there's a big fair that they have here, the Summit County Fair. There's a big giant fair here every year, and they always would have this band or that band that would come to it. It'd be like Eddie Money would play it one year, and like Starship or whatever. It would never be like Bruce Springsteen or anything, but it would always be like guys that had kind of fallen a little bit in their career, but we're still sort of name-ish.
Charlie Cat wants to say hello real quick.
Hello, Cat.
Hi, Chris.
I love the pets.
I know you hate cats. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, sir. I didn't mean to
interrupt. We would go to this thing every year, and it was more people that were there to see the tractor pull that also were like, hey, I know that Eddie Money. He sings that song about that girl's tit shaking. I know it. That's who would be in the crowd.
Sure.
It wouldn't be like a bunch of people wearing Eddie Money shirts that were like, happy to be there, you know?
Instead of the guy paying for the Eddie Money ticket, he had all that money to buy beers to,
Yeah.
you know.
You froze. Are you there?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Can you see me?
froze up just for a second. All right.
I did that on purpose. I was like,
Oh, there you go. Perfect. You see,
I won't do that.
You sent our fan back into convulsions thinking that you died again. You just stopped moving. But yeah, that was always the audience at those things. It was not anybody that other than us that was there for the music. They were all there to see how far can they pull that big heavy thing with the tractor, you know, and that's what they were there to see, you know, and bull riding and shit like that, which is fun. Don't get me wrong.
I was listening to the Saturday night CMS, and Neely was pretty bummed out about Robbie Knievel.
Yeah.
As was I. I actually hung out with Robbie Knievel.
Yeah, tell that story, dude. I did not know this.
Yeah, you know, you guys were talking about how he got in some accident with his motorhome.
Yeah.
I partied with him in that motorhome.
Very nice.
I don't know if it happened the same day, that accident, but it sounds like it was around that time period.
Now, where did he live? Where I know nothing about him.
I don't
Vegas?
know. I think he did live in Vegas, to be honest. I think he did, but this didn't occur. I think we were somewhere like South Dakota or something like that.
Okay.
And he had his mobile home out there, his trailer. And next thing I knew, he was gonna like MC the show, and we were hanging out. As you can see behind me, I got the Evil Knievel
with the big white wind-up crank on it. Hell yes.
That's right. Now you also see up here Ideal.
Yes.
Okay. My Uncle Eddie Cafiro worked for Ideal in the 1970s.
Oh, no kidding. Look at that.
So
he
I
was
got
on the team.
I got all the cool shit. I got all the Evil Knievels. They even had a bad guy, Evil Knievel, called the Midnight Marauder. And I remember he was like, "Here you go, Erik. This one isn't even out yet. This one's a bad guy called the Midnight Marauder."
The Midnight Marauder.
I'm pretty sure I remember that. And he was all in black. But yes, as you can see, for the kids at home, this was a wind-up Evil Knievel. I recently saw Zakk Wylde playing with this fucking thing, and it was hilarious. He made a video where he had all this goofy stuff set up to jump. And he had his Evil Knievel out, and Zakk jumped the Evil Knievel, and it was hilarious. But I remember as a kid, I was still pretty young when this thing came out. I wasn't too good at zipping it. My mom has a funny story where the whole family was watching me try to play it, and I couldn't. The thing kept tipping over, and I was like, "Son of a bitch!" They thought that was funny because my mom cussed all the time. So as a little kid, I cussed too.
Right.
So flash forward, we're playing this event, and I'm hanging out with a legend, Robbie Knievel.
Sure.
You know, his dad was obviously the more well-known,
the legend. Yeah.
The legend.
Mm-hmm.
But Robbie actually did all of his dad's jumps, did the jumps even his dad didn't pull off. And so Robbie is a legend too. And I'm glad that he dedicated his life to keeping
the name
that
going.
uniform going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, dude,
right?
and the weirdest thing is that there, you know, Neely and I did this, I don't know, 6-8 months ago, maybe a year, might have been 2 years because COVID time. But there was a guy during the pandemic at some point that did one of the jumps. Like he's like a stunt guy now. And that's me. Believe me when I tell you, the way I'm telling you this kind of tells the story, because I have no idea who the guy is. I don't remember his name. He made the jump, but I know even like Neely watched it. Like I was not. It's a weird thing with Evil Knievel. He was a big mainstay on Wide World of Sports.
Mm-hmm.
And on Sunday for Wide World of Sports, that was me and my dad's thing together. We would watch that. We would watch James Green, the boxer that was also locked up in prison. You know, we would watch that guy. They would take the cameras into the prison to watch him fight guys and stuff. It was crazy.
Whoa.
But why World of Sports? The intro to that show was all you wanted to see because you watched the sports hoping for the crash.
And the agony of defeat.
That's what you wanted. You wanted every skier to fall. You wanted every high jumper to fucking break their stick and fall on their back.
Dude, when Evel Knievel crashes at, was it Caesar's Palace?
Yeah.
We got to show a couple of these, man. I don't know. You should look up a few while we're talking about it.
Now.
Cool. He looks like a toy. He's flopping around.
He looks like a Stretch Armstrong hitting the street.
The best agony of defeat I remember from the 70s was the skiing one. It was some high jump ski that the guy, you see him lose the ski and you know it ain't gonna end good. And
looking right now.
Yeah, they'd take a pounding. I don't know when worldwide sports ended.
Yeah, I don't probably in the 80s at some point, but I mean it was always horrible when these guys wiped out.
So with Robbie, you know, it was, you know, you would think this was kind of a biker convention, biker fest thing going on. And I wish I rode motorcycles, but I don't. And I wish I could have talked to him about motorcycles, you know, but the only thing I had to talk about was toys.
That's funny.
Toy, right? So I was like, hey man, yeah, I had your dad's I always put the wrong finger. I had your dad's toy, you know, and he wind it. And then he kind of tripped me out for a second because he was like, oh yeah, because that's funny because a lot of people say that, you know, because I did the winding thing. He goes, a lot of people say they do the push thing.
Right.
And I go, shit, is that what the thing did? And I was like, is he going to think I'm full of shit? But it was this. It was a, maybe you do at the end push it to make it go. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. You probably had to push some kind of a release so that the tires could start turning, you know, or start, you know, because something had to engage the little motorcycle to make it go.
Unless you got it to a certain speed and it just took off. But yeah, I think that maybe it did have something like that. But I mean, I certainly remember the
oh yeah.
And they had other toys too. I mean, they tried to sell the Snake River rocket.
Yeah, that wasn't as good. Although I will admit, I had the motorcycle guy like you have behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And I took him off the motorcycle and I taped him to one of those rockets that you filled with water and you pumped with air.
Oh yeah.
And I used to shoot him around the yard. I would just pump it up and I used to pretend that my yard was the Snake River Canyon. And meanwhile, I just had Evel Knievel taped to it and I did.
I remember those rockets though. I was allowed to have the water one. I wanted a real fucking rocket. My friends in the 70s had pretty cool rockets. Some kids on the block. One of the rockets like takes a picture when it gets to a certain height. But the funniest thing is, you notice like in society, people always reference rocket scientists. They're like, oh, it ain't rocket science. And I always like think back, man, we were making rockets when we were like 9.
Oh yeah, dude. Let me just tell you one of my horrible stories. I was always like on the way to getting burned because I was always playing with fire and shit. So it's not surprising that I ended up in a horrific burn accident because I really was playing with fire all the time. But one of the first things I did was I stole a bottle of my dad's Brut by Fabergé. Remember that shit?
Oh yeah.
And it used to come in a green plastic bottle. So you know it was quality then because it came in a green plastic bottle. So I remember I took this Brut by Fabergé and I cut the bottom, like I stuck a pinhole in the bottom of it and I stuck a string in it and I lit it and I wedged it in like a V spot on a tree just to see what would happen if it would blow up or something. And so I lit it and this thing there was what do you call it? Cologne dripping down the string. Huh? Oh, what happened? And you froze. And what happened?
I don't know. It looked like we both got booted for a second.
Well, maybe we're not supposed to tell these horror stories, I guess. I don't know.
Like Brut by Fabergé. Oh, no, you don't, guys.
Yeah, stop it.
So wait, let's back up here.
All
so what year is this?
76, 77, 78, somewhere in there. I was a kid.
Okay.
I was a little
So
kid.
you have Brute by Fabergé, the green stinky bottle.
Yes.
You stick it in a tree and you're trying to blow it up with what weapon? What are you using?
I just put a piece of string in the bottom of it. I like drilled like a nail hole or something in the bottom, and I stuck a string in it, and the Brute was dripping down the string.
Okay.
So then I lit the string, expecting it to go up to, the fire to go up into the bottle and blow it up.
Sure.
It didn't blow it up. It shot this shit like a rocket. I don't know why, but it just was all of a sudden like, and then boom, it took off and it fucking lit the tree on fire because it was
Chris.
because it was spraying the shit all over the place. I was like, what the fuck?
My cat just bit me really hard.
Good. That's what you get for having a cat.
We used to make bombs and stuff too as little kids, and it's funny to hear you say that. Times have really changed, haven't they?
Yeah.
My friends, we had a couple of like 5, 6, 7-year-olds, and then a couple of like 9, 10, 11-year-olds. The 5, 6, and 7-year-olds were in charge of making the fuse, so we had to go through our garages and find stuff that we could make a fuse for the pipe bombs. We decided we were going to go build and blow up in the woods.
Sure.
In New Jersey. So we basically took, every chemical we could find in our parents' garage and just basically did a whole, R&D project,
Oh, yeah.
What burns the fastest, and it was so fucking dangerous looking back on it. The stupid shit we would do.
Dude, in the town I grew up in, there was a little strip mall, but it was like the hub of the town. It was a little tiny fucking town. And behind it at that time, there was no development on it. It was just woods. So me and my friends, we had our little tree, like we had a tree and we had found a, I don't know, like a bucket seat from an old truck or something. And we built ourselves a fort, but it wasn't like, it wasn't in the wood or like in the tree. It was like next to a tree or something. It was on the ground. And that was where we used to hide all our Playboys, was underneath the bench thing that we found, the bucket seat. And, that was just what we would do. And then there were other cliques of kids, and they all had their little tree forts too. And, spread out in this one area of woods. And that was like a thing, was we used to go and we used to raid each other's forts and steal everybody's nudie magazines, because everybody had their nudie
I told
magazines.
you about, there was an older kid, and I told the story on one other episode where I said a kid in the woods had showed me my first pornographic magazine, which is pretty little concerning. But I forgot to say his name. His name was Burp.
Burp?
Burp. And Burp could burp the whole alphabet. That was his thing. He was like,
what a skill.
Yeah, and he had showed me that kids close your ears, but the magazine was called X-rated shaved, and then the P word.
Nice.
On there, and it was disgusting, and I was horrified, and it was the first time I saw.
How old were you?
Oh my God, I was probably only like 6.
Yeah.
6 or 7, and I was just kind of horrified at what I was looking like. It looked like I was staring down the throat of somebody's mouth close up, but it was something else, and it had a little dangly thing there, and I was like, what is that? Or tonsils?
Yeah. When you were young, when I was young, none of it looked attractive to me.
No.
Pussy looked gross.
Titties
Even worse were cock, even titties at that point. I was like,
Oh, I've always loved titties.
I don't know.
We used to chase girls in the woods and squeeze. We used to, like I said,
it wasn't until I put my hands on some that I started to appreciate them. Honestly, it wasn't until then. I still remember that girl's name. That girl's name was Christy Kegg, and Kegg, Kegg, and she had big old tits for.
Did you tap the keg, Chris?
Well, I don't know if I should say that or not. I think she might be a Facebook friend. So.
Oh, okay.
But yes.
Good man.
But yeah, no, it was just one of those, things with the porn that was kind of in that time, and maybe you were different, maybe you're the same. in that time, I don't think we even thought about it as porn. We just thought of it as something we weren't allowed to have.
Yeah.
It really wasn't like, oh man, I gotta see this. This girl's got double D's, or there was none of that going on at 10 years old. At 10 years old, it was like, hey man, I stole this from my dad's drawer, man. How cool is that?
It was cool. But I remember wanting whatever we could get our hands on, even if it was like a deck of cards with nudie girls on it, or once I had an uncle.
The pens that you could turn over and the bikini would fall off.
Totally, like, okay, that'll do. I remember I had an uncle we visit sometimes. I knew he had like a Playboy stash, so I'd act like I was playing on the floor. Then I would like sneak over there,
right?
Try to get a peek at those. I was notorious for like looking at the scrambled porn channel on TV in the 80s. It was like for a second it would like you could see something. It was like, I saw titty, and then it would go back to.
I just remember, dude, you're bringing up awful memories for me. What I remember is the cable box that we had. It was this brown box. It had these push button channels, I guess you would call them. And there was only about 15 channels total.
Right. And
the last 3 were the ones that you had. They were like what did they call that at that time? It wasn't pay-per-view. It was closed caption channels. Or I think it was something like that, closed caption, or so. It was not called pay-per-view. It had another name.
Okay.
And I just remember I would, on the side of that, it had like an adjuster thing in case your video wasn't like centered in your TV. And I just remember we would put it on the scramble channel, and then we would fuck with the adjuster thing, trying to see a tit, just like you, just trying. And I still remember the first movie I ever saw a tit in, that I remember seeing a tit in, was the movie Barbarella. Remember that movie?
That was great.
And there's a scene, she's like comes across like a screen or something, like
she's floating across, right?
Yeah, and she's topless or whatever. And I just remember, I'm like, just for 1 second we could see her like clear enough to see her boob, and we were like, oh man, that's great. And then it went squiggly again, and I'm like, I'm working that thing like I would my own dick. I'm like, I gotta get it back. I gotta get it back.
We got push.
Exactly. I was trying so hard to get this stupid tit back on screen. God, we were stupid.
Yeah, it was goofy, but kids nowadays, there's no effort involved at all.
No, there's really not.
Yeah.
Dude, they don't even have to buy their device to watch their porn. That's the worst part. Even the device, like, dude, when you were a kid, did you ever have somebody that got their hands on like an 8mm movie?
Okay. I'm just gonna say my friend's dad.
Okay.
He had an 8mm. He had the reel-to-reel shit.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And he had a couple movies. He had an old like kind of Godzilla movie called The Claw.
Okay.
Like about the bird.
Right.
And then he had another one that was like some dirty movie on there. But it was funny because we had to like put the reels on the thing to watch it. It was silent film. And that thing, you can get in trouble if they caught you, because that's a lot of shit you had to break down. You know what I mean? If you're watching, going through your parents' shit. And then later, the dads had the VHS.
Oh yeah, well then it was easier. Then once it got to VHS, then it was easier to get porn. But when we were little, there was no getting porn. You would see it in a magazine or something, and
a magazine in the woods.
Yeah, and man, if somebody had a video, I can remember, dude, we had this video. This is so stupid. I can't believe I'm thinking of this dumb shit. We had a video, and it probably wasn't a minute and a half long. It was one of them little reels about that big, just a small little reel, right? And we sat on this thing. We would hold it up to the sun, trying to see the pictures in the film.
Right.
We would try that, and then we tried everything. We're doing it with magnifying glasses so that we could see it better, and we would do all this stupid shit. And I remember one year I was up in Rhode Island at my grandparents' house, and my grandfather had me helping him clean out his garage. And he was throwing away an old 8mm projector.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, Grandpa, you got to let me have that. I need it for school.
Yeah.
And he
For show and tell.
And he agreed and gave it to me. And that's actually how I ended up getting caught with this fucking video. I never got to watch the video because as soon as my dad saw that I had such interest in a 8mm projector, he was like, "Where's the video?" And I was like, "What are you talking about, Dad?" He's like, "I know you have pornographic material. Where is it?" And I ended up having to give it to him. I had to give him the tape. The reel. I never watched it. But my dad was playing fucking Inspector Gadget and figured it out just from me wanting
he had to have been in a similar situation himself, because that was more his childhood technology, right? I mean,
well, I wish he was here to ask, because there's a part of me that thinks maybe he had his own reels.
that's right. He's like,
And
finally,
wanted
I can go and relive my old porn childhood.
And maybe he wanted the projector. I mean, it could have been that he might have wanted the projector so he could watch his own porn.
Because you could have had it for something else, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he knew right away. I mean,
you could be like, I have Evel Knievel's Jump at Caesar's Palace on here.
Yeah, well, he would have watched that with me. But speaking of that, I do have that right here.
Yeah, let's not forget about Robbie here. This is actually Evil.
This is Evil.
Okay,
yeah, let's go to Evil. Some of Evil's famous falls.
Yeah. Enough about this porno stuff.
Yeah, enough porn. Let's get to Evil.
Let's get some motorcycles and crashes and shit.
Ow!
That doesn't even look like that gnarly of a jump. I think it's that he was trying to do it on a Harley or something, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that fucking hurts. You never rode motorcycles?
I've been on them, but no, I missed my chance to do it.
I had a Kawasaki, a little Kawasaki 550 that my parents bought me for my 16th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I rode the piss out of this thing. I mean, I really rode it a ton. And, when everybody else had their driver's license, I already had my motorcycle license. So I was riding motorcycles by like 16 and a half, 17. I was already riding my motorcycle. And dude, as hard as that accident there that we just saw doesn't look like much. Not really.
Right.
Let me tell you, that hurts so fucking bad. I never did a biff like that, but I laid my motorcycle down a couple of times and it hurts so bad.
Dude, I have a friend named Don in Florida, and he has a muffler burn across his chest.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could see the muffler in its entirety because the bike had like fallen on top of him, and it's just like,
sure.
Yeah,
I don't doubt it, dude. All right, now you got me telling stories about this. Here we go. So there was on graduation night, my graduation night, I was hanging out with this girl, CHRIS Chudzinski, and I picked her up on my motorcycle. And her parents really did not like me because I was the motorcycle kid, so they didn't like
the projector kid.
Well, they didn't know that. All they knew is that I was the motorcycle kid. And I ain't gonna lie, I was drunk off my ass. I was really hammered. And I put her, she got on the motorcycle. We started driving. We were gonna go to all the graduation parties. We were going to bounce around to the different graduation parties. So we're going up a street and boom, lights. And I'm like, motherfuck. And I'm like, holy shit. So I'm like hauling ass and trying to get away from the cops, right? I'm hauling ass. I'm going like 75 miles an hour or something on a fucking 25-mile-an-hour street. And I start yelling back to her. I'm like, jump off. And she wouldn't jump up, but I knew I was getting slowed down by the extra weight for her being on the bike. And she ended up jumping off, and she fucking wiped out. Like I slowed down enough and she jumped off, and wiped out and just laid in a ditch, and the cops didn't come and get her. And I like kind of circle looped, lost the cops, and I came back to get her. I pick her up. She had a burn mark on her calf that it almost looked like a wraparound on her calf. Because what happened was when she was trying to get her leg off to jump off the motorcycle, she fucking stuck her leg down on the exhaust thing. And she was drunk or stoned or whatever we were at the time. And she didn't really feel it. So she had this huge mark. Oh my God. I thought her dad, I ended up taking her home. I thought her dad was going to fucking murder me.
Because they had to treat that, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah. She definitely had to go to the hospital. I couldn't drop her off and go away. I had to literally carry her in.
Or go like, oh, well, now I have to kill you.
Dude, it wouldn't have shocked me if you did. We both went with the stupid lie of she fell off the bike. That was the lie that we told, was that she fell off.
It's reasonable.
I hit a rock. I lost a little control and she fell off the bike. That was what we went with, but he knew. Or maybe he didn't know, but he didn't like me anyway. So,
Oh my God, I'd be so upset if I had a daughter that was in some situation like that.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad. But then I went right back on the motorcycle and went to the parties and went partying. Just dropped her off. Because I was a dick back in those days. But
you never got into riding like after that? When did you put down the dirt bike? When you got a car, you got a cool car, never looked back?
Not really. I mean, I kept the motorcycle for years. I ended up, it's a stupid way to end up losing my motorcycle. But what happened was in 1994, in June, I can't even tell you the month, I rode my motorcycle down to Blossom Music Center to see Metallica and Danzig. And I'm at the show. I'm completely fucked up. I mean, completely annihilated drunk. And I've told part of this story on the CMS before, but this was the one where they were making blanket fires, again with the fire. And everybody was moshing around the fires. And I dove into one just to prove what a badass I was, because I'm an idiot and a drunk.
In the fire, yeah. Was it during that song?
It probably was. I'm sure that's what it was. You know what? I don't remember, but let's be honest, that makes sense, doesn't it? But I dove in and I got second-degree burns on my hand and my arm. So some buddies knew I couldn't ride home because I could, my hand was all fucked up. So they drove me home. But I went to the venue on my way out and I said, my bike is parked in the bike lot. I'm too drunk to ride it. Can you leave it till the morning? And they said yes. So the next day, I come back to pick up my motorcycle. It's towed, of course. They just straight lied to me. So then I call the company to get the motorcycle back. And they're like, oh, it's $1,200 to get the motorcycle.
Because like, I bought it for that much.
Yeah, well, not only did they tow it, but they had to use some special kind of equipment to tow it, or some bolt, because it wasn't a car. So, so I was like, you know what? Fuck you, keep it. Right. And I never went back and got it. I just was like, I'm not paying that. And I just let them, they ended up selling it at auction or something. And I was just like, fuck it, I'm done. I'm not paying $1,200 for this thing.
We were talking last week about the luggage that gets resold, and actually even cars get left at the airport. And it's the same thing, sometimes who knows, let's say you go to jail for a while or whatever,
or somebody dies or something.
A couple of years, the thing's sitting in there and you're having to pay all that money. I mean, once that exceeds the value of the car, what's the point?
Yeah, just buy another one. And that was, it's funny with that motorcycle, that was always my idea. I remember telling my ex at I told her, I said, because she was like, you got to go get it. I was like, fuck that. I'm not going to get it. I'll just get another one. I was like, I'm going to save up for 6 months. I'm going to get another one, a bigger one. Because this was just a little 550. I was like, I'm going to get a big one. I'm going to get a Harley. I'm going to get an 1100 something. I'm going to get something big, right? Never saved up any money. Never again had a motorcycle. Life just moved on, and it didn't move on with me getting another bike. So
And where you live too, it's like you really can't ride it except during the summer anyway.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's a 4-month toy. That's really what it is.
Right.
It's like guys that own boats around here. That to me is the dumbest purchase known to man. You spend $100,000 on a fucking boat, and you can take it out, what, 10 times a year? If that?
Mm.
You know, that just
Susan
sucks.
sold her boat, my girl. We had a boat for a while here, but I mean, boats are a hobby, and they're an expensive hobby.
Oh man, the gas or the diesel and all that stuff is so expensive.
I'll give everybody an Erik tip when it comes to boating if you're considering getting one. Instead of getting a boat, just have a friend that has a boat. Be the guy that shows up with the booze and the food. Hey man, let's have a boat party. And then you just bring all the stuff, and they'll be happy to have you because you're bringing stuff.
That's right.
That costs you not much compared to what that boat slip rent is, and what the maintenance on the boat is, having to clean the underneath from the barnacles.
Oh, yeah,
and
the barnacles and shit, right? Yeah, yeah. You're good. You can get on that boat twice a year for about $60 worth of meat trays. You know, you're good.
And it's the resale's hard too. I mean, sadly, you know, she lost some money. I mean, it was a dream of hers to learn how to sail, and she got a pretty cool, almost pretty much a yacht. It was pretty much like a yacht. Wow. But she didn't know how to sail.
Right.
You know, and so the only time we took it out was when a friend that had a boat in the harbor would captain it and take it out. Right. I mean, at the most, it has a little motor, and we putted around the harbor and things. And we got some pictures of that, but eventually, sadly, her ex-husband had passed away. Like the alimony ended abruptly, unfortunately. So that extra play money was gone all of a sudden. And you know, on average, I'd say with the maintenance, you know, you're spending about $800 or more a month to have the boat.
Yeah.
And when it's cold this time of year, you don't want to really go out to it where the weather's bad.
Yeah. No, I get, and over here it's way worse. My parents had a boat, and I mean, they used to tell me horror stories about money. Not about the boat. They loved the boat when it was live, and they could go and they could water ski and do all that kind of stuff. You know, and that all was fun. I ain't gonna lie, that all was fun. It was fun to go water skiing on the boat and whatnot, but then you start thinking about, well, it's gonna cost $6,000 to store this sucker for the winter. And, you know, and then you have to do some kind of maintenance to it so that it doesn't dry rot or some shit, you know, and it's like, that's another $1,000. And
the slip rent wasn't bad. In most cases, when somebody sells a boat here, or at least where I live in Oceanside at the harbor, usually the boat price includes that transfer of the slip, and the slip rent is actually only like $400 a month.
Well, that's not bad, but still.
Now you can apply for a live aboard status.
Okay.
Which the waiting list is a couple of years. You know,
what do you mean the waiting list? Why do you have to have a waiting list to live on something?
Well, the harbor itself doesn't have that many slips, so you got to wait for somebody to croak or somebody to sell their boat, which both things happen, believe it or not. People die in that harbor. They fall in the water and fucking die.
I bet. Oh yeah.
You know, drinking and stuff. All those people down there are pretty gnarly, and they party and do blow and you know everything. But we have a few friends that do live on their boats, and you know, to me, that's a step away from being homeless. If you want
living on a boat,
man,
it's just not big enough.
We argued about this, Susan and I, last night, because she was saying I could totally live on a boat for months and months, and I'm like, you're fucking crazy. I'm like, because it was a cold day for us yesterday, and it looks like a tsunami is going to come in. In fact, they have a sign posted about 100 yards from my house for the tsunami evacuation plan.
Sure.
Okay. Which really, what plan is there besides go that way?
Yeah.
East, fast as you can.
Where's the land? Run into it.
I live in a paradise normally, but it does get a little sketchy when you live right on the strand like I do. You look out and the palm trees are and it looks very scary, like a tsunami is about to happen. But I said to her, you know, days like this, you know how miserable it would be to live on a boat. It's the size of your kitchen.
Yeah, and it's up and down. It's bouncing in the water and shit.
Like, I'm sure he also pays for a storage place somewhere that he has more stuff. But as far as what you could fit on the boat, it ain't much. And he has a dog or one buddy. So he's got a big dog. and they're down there in this little area the size of a typical kitchen. That is horrible.
Yeah.
You know, I
That
couldn't do it.
makes you want to live in a mobile home.
They do have showers, like you'd have to walk, and they have really nice, showers and bathrooms that you can walk up the dock and go over, and you have a fob, so like only the boat owners could get in there. But to me, that's no different than having a YMCA.
Yeah, it's like going to the gym and taking a shower.
Yeah, which I had a homeless buddy who did that too. He had decided to save on rent here and live in his car. He wasn't a drug addict or anything. He was actually a Vietnam vet.
Okay.
And he was older, and he was worried about, his final years being able to pay for whatever. So he decided he was gonna spend a few years, living in his car.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. But with the homeless situation here, there are a lot of people in Southern California that are in bad people that they just can't afford anything, so they're trying to save up and they're living in their cars, and it's unfortunate. There are different classes of homeless.
Sure.
Have
you ever been that broke that you had to live in a car?
The worst I ever was actually as a teenager. I was homeless as a teenager, but I was in a band that was popular locally, the band Voodoo in San Diego. And so we had a warehouse that the band rehearsed in San Marcos. And this warehouse, we tried to like soundproof it, so we had all these like mattresses we got from the alley that had piss stains and blood stains and shit. And I slept on that shit. I mean, all the money that the band would make, they go, oh, this is going into investing in the band. And I'm like, if you're not going to pay me for these shows, I'm going to fucking live at that rehearsal room, So I was close. It was pretty much kind of like being homeless, but not really. But
dude, my friend Pat, he had a band. Again, you band guys, you find your way. But my friend Pat, he worked at this one company, and it was like a transportation company, but they had severely downsized. Like at one point they had like 2 or 3 big warehouses, and now they had downsized to 1, but they still owned all 3. So there was 2 abandoned warehouses. And my friend Pat ended up talking the owner into letting him live in one of the warehouses. And I mean, he started using it only as like for band practice. And then, I mean, he could have gone and got an apartment, but he was like, what the fuck? Why? Because this place was so big,
right,
that he had his band area. He built a kitchen. He built there was bathrooms already, but he like remodeled them a little bit. And he built some walls and built himself some bedrooms and stuff in this place. And he ended up living in it. He lived in it for like 6 years. And the only reason he moved out of it was because he moved out of state. He moved to your neck of the woods. He lives up in Walnut Creek, or he used to. Now he lives in your neighborhood. Now he's an LA guy.
Well, my buddy, the Vietnam vet, he did just what we were saying earlier. He would have a gym membership, and he would go just shower there and live in his car. And I don't know, man. But then the pandemic hit, and they closed all that shit.
Oh yeah, you couldn't go and take a shower even. Yeah.
No, and at first he was like telling me that he was taking showers in the sprinklers and shit on like out in industrial areas. I let him come shower at my place here and there, and, do him a solid. But fortunately, they finally took over the state. A couple of motels that they made into veteran living places.
Okay.
So for $600 a month, he has a place now. So I'm happy to report that he's living at least in what you would consider to be a one motel room deal.
Dude, how the fuck? And again, we're gonna get serious. I guess we're barely gonna talk music tonight. But how the fuck do you let our own people live like that?
Right.
That especially, well, let me take this back. I don't want to say especially, because it's not like anybody's problems are worse than anybody else's, or anybody has earned better treatment than anybody else. But how do you not take care of the fucking vets?
Right.
And I know I speak on that as a vet, so maybe it's a little closer to the heart than other people.
Sure.
But holy mother of fuck. I mean, I served during wartime. I took the plane. I went to the desert. It's fucking hot and it sucks. And it was not fun hearing fucking bullets popping off of an APC that you're riding through the desert in, hoping that this fucking thing doesn't stall and then you get overrun and killed. You know, it's not fun. It's the military in general is fun. I enjoyed my military time a ton, but I didn't enjoy that. I certainly didn't enjoy during the Gulf when we were laying in trying to get 10 minutes of fucking sleep, and every 2 minutes there was a Scud missile going off and a Patriot missile shooting it down and sirens going off telling us that we had to wear this fucking mop gear, the mask and the gloves and the suit and all that shit in 110-degree heat in the middle of the day or night. It was fucked. It was really, really fucked. And to let those people that did that service, and again, not talk about me because I'm not homeless, but to let those people not give them somewhere to stay. Their only value, they'll give them somewhere to stay when they're willing to take a bullet. But once they've done their service, then they're not worth a fucking cot in a room.
With that said, too, him being a Vietnam vet, let's not forget these guys were drafted. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a choice you really had. You know what I mean?
That was Vietnam vets. The Vietnam vets should be taken care of.
Definitely.
Vietnam, if you survived Vietnam, and this is just my thought. If you survived Vietnam, that should have been coming home, should have been like winning the lottery. Here's your new car. Here's your new place to live. And you don't have to pay for shit. You don't pay for drinks at the bar anymore. You fucking, you gave more than you needed to give.
Right.
And that drives me nuts that Vietnam vets are fucking homeless and, people make fun of them because they're wearing a fucking ragged old VFW hat or whatever. It's like, you know what? Fuck you. What did you do?
The one thing about my friend, though, he is pretty fucking crazy. I actually had to block him recently because I just couldn't take the world's coming to an end. He gets really biblical.
Sure.
And sends me these he just starts going on and with biblical, quotes of the end times.
Yeah.
It ruins my fucking day every day. And I had to finally put it into it. But he would tell me some Vietnam stuff. And some of it sounded kind of like he was full of shit. He said he was a medic, but then he said he was sent in at the end of Vietnam to infiltrate some of these camps of soldiers that decided to stay in Vietnam past their welcome.
All right, dear Hunter, I hear you.
Yeah. So he starts telling me this story about how he was sent in to infiltrate these little units of Vietnam American soldiers that stayed there and were starting their own little villages that were like basically starting families and not leaving, they were going AWOL and staying there, according to him, and that he was brought in and he had to either medically induce, a coma to take the leader out or kill him. And I go, Daniel, this sounds a lot like the plot to Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? As I'm hearing it, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? That has never happened. They've never sent a medic in to go kill the troop leader. I mean, it was Apocalypse Now. He was telling me the fucking plot to Apocalypse Now.
Well, let me just tell you, in my life, I worked in intelligence. I was an intel analyst, 96 Bravo. That was my MOS for people that want to look it up to validate if I really was or not. I was an intel analyst. That was my job. I could tell you for a fact, the military did not when I served, does not now send in medics to be fucking Rambo. It does not happen. It's never going to happen. It has not happened. There may have been some Rambo medics, but I can tell you for a fact, they never said, you know who we got to get to send in on this? The medic. That guy's got to get. And you know what? While we're sending him in, you know who else is a badass? The fucking cook.
That's
Get
right.
That guy off of potatoes and send him in immediately. Let him keep his knife And
The
so
medic comes in with a little white flag. Hey guys,
yeah,
anybody need a band-aid?
yeah, exactly. It's like, stop with that nonsense. That is in the military or in the veteran community, it is one of the most hated things ever.
Stolen valor.
Stolen valor. Oh my God. It absolutely drives all of us crazy because you don't, first of all, if you served in any capacity, the last thing in the world you need to do is pump it up to make it better. You served. You did more than 99% of the
Yeah,
people.
leave it there.
Yeah, you don't have to be fucking Rambo. You don't
People
have to be.
embellish.
Yeah, you don't have to be the guy that survived Black Hawk Down. You don't have to be that guy. You can just be the guy that went in, was willing to die for a bunch of fucking dickheads that you don't know and generally don't like. That's fucking impressive.
You know what my favorite fictional movie about the Vietnam War, and tell me if you remember this one, Uncommon Valor.
Oh yeah, sure.
That movie, I thought that movie was so awesome when I was a kid. These guys that served, and apparently some of the dudes, like POWs that got left behind. Gene Hackman thinks he knows where his son is.
Sure.
And he's showing them the aerial footage, and these guys have like kind of moved on. It's the 80s. My favorite dude was the one that worked at the dirt bike place. He was like the California guy that had an M60. And I watched that movie so many times as a kid.
Sure.
Uncommon Valor. Hell yeah.
Let me tell you which Vietnam movie I think is the best of all time. Only because I've become the guy. Born on the 4th of July.
Oh.
I've become Lieutenant Dan or whatever the guy's name is in the wheelchair.
Tom Cruise's character?
Yeah, I've become him because I served not because I had to, because I wanted to. I absolutely did not have to. I wanted to serve my country. My dad had served, and I thought that it was an honor to be able to do it. And I did it. And plus, I had other reasons too. Me and my dad were fighting. I wanted to get the fuck away from him.
Mm-hmm.
It was a way to do it. So I don't want it to be like, here I am, flag shirt, Chris.
I told him, don't give me any incentives. I'll do it for free.
Well, truthfully, I actually turned down some stuff. I actually did not take the GI Bill. I didn't want it. I just was like, give me the extra $100 a month. What a dummy. I will say that was pretty fucking dumb.
You could have got a degree with the GI Bill.
Yeah.
That was worth a good, probably 50 grand or more.
Yeah. But instead I was like, oh no, I can't give up $100 a month out of my paycheck. No. I need that extra hundy for 1 year. For 1 year. You pay in $1,200, you get 50 grand.
Your brain wasn't fully formed yet.
Well, I was 17. I will say a year sounded like eternity when you were 17. Where now it's like you look up and 3 years have gone by. But
Susan's boy Aiden just joined the National Guard, and thank God they rescinded the vaccine.
Sure.
Shit, because that kid is impressive, man. He goes to University of Las Vegas.
Okay.
And they were making all those kids take it, and this kid Aiden is so smart.
Right.
He actually wrote a whole like formal letter to the school and somehow got himself excused from getting the shit.
Nice.
Which is pretty impressive for a kid like that.
Well, the military, they're good on compromise. That's one thing the military is known for.
Well, I think that they knew, because this just all went down in the last 2 months.
Sure.
And he went in, and there was talk that a bill was going to get passed through the Senate that was going to rescind the military vax, but it wasn't known for sure. But he went in, and they pretty much just go, you vax? He was like, maybe. They're like, whatever. I think they knew that it was going to be pulled soon.
So they just let him walk through.
Yeah, because he was trying. I think he had a fake one or something. But I'm surprised he even tried to show them that. But they let him in with no problems there. Now they are probably going to stick him with 100 other fucking vaccines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially if he goes overseas. Oh boy.
But at least it's not the mRNA one for now.
Yeah,
but the thing is, it's like, I think he's signing on. It's the National Guard.
Okay.
But I think it's 6 years he's going to be.
Yeah, but it's not every day for 6 years.
No.
It's 2 years of what? 2 years of service and 4 years of once a month thing?
there's little clauses, there's little, fine print there too. If
Yeah,
we
yeah,
actually did go into wartime, you get
yeah.
called
You
up
get called
first,
up first. Yeah,
you
yeah. There
know?
was a lot of people that got zapped on that one on Afghanistan.
Sure.
I remember when Afghanistan first kicked off, and like half of the
1990.
troops were fucking National Guard and reservists.
They're like, whoa, 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 whoa! I was just
Yeah.
trying to get my college paid for. What's this all about?
Yeah, but the reservists got called first. Yeah, it was crazy how that worked out. But
My dad was lucky. He went in at the tail end of NAM into the Army Reserve, so he was in there 1971. The war had ended. I mean, he was of the age, and he did utilize the GI Bill to pay for his college and everything. And it was interesting, back then they would actually allow people that were in prison to get out of prison if they wanted to serve.
Yeah, it was an either or. It was, you can do your time or you can do our time.
That's right. So
that was the
he
pitch.
would show me his picture of his platoon, and he would show me the guys. He was like, okay, that guy was in prison. That guy was most of the black guys, and they were out of prison and doing it.
Right.
But I thought it was fascinating, but he never got, saw any war. I think they were like guarding Fort Knox or some shit.
Sweet.
But even in training, people get killed. You get run over by a tank or some grenade lands in your tent.
It's dangerous. I ain't gonna.
Yeah,
dude. Even just regular old basic training. The one thing where they throw you in the water. They like I forget what we did there, but they put like a bag over your head or some shit and fucking lightly tie your hands up and throw you in the fucking pool. And you got to get out or you die. And I mean, obviously, if they see that you're not coming up, they'll go get you. But that's risky. That shit's risky. And the gas chamber, I know it's CS gas, and it's not. I mean, it's if you don't stay in it too long, it's not lethal. But I can tell you for a fact when they bring you into the gas chamber, and they line you all up. You're all in your gas masks. And they make you take off the gas mask, and everybody tries to hold their breath. And then they say, okay, troops, repeat after me. And then they go through a long dissertation so that you have to take a breath in order. And then as soon as you take that breath, it's like your lungs just fucking close. And you're like, and you're just dying to get out of there. You'll do anything to get out. And I just remember I was running to get to the door. And I got to the door, and like the drill sergeant tried to stop me, and I knocked his ass right over. I was like, fuck you, dude. I hit him like a linebacker hitting a punter. I mean, I just boom, hit his ass and went right through him, man. I was like, fuck you.
The only thing I've had anywhere close to that was have you ever seen the gas mask with the bong attached to it?
Oh, yeah.
So I decided that, it was on sale at some store. This is in the 90s or something. And I went and bought it. I'm like, this is going to be awesome.
And
and it was this literal, full-blown gas mask with a little plastic bong where the mouthpiece is.
Right.
So you get home and you stick that on. All right. All right, kid, fire it up. And I fired it up, and oh my god, the smoke hits your eyes, and it's like a death trap on your head. Like, and I was coughing. It was kind of like your CS. What does that stand for?
CS gas. I don't really remember, but it's
cocksucker gas.
Yeah, cocksucking gas, because that's what I thought about it. I was like, you fucking cocksuckers making me breathe that shit in. And then the worst part, then they embarrass you coming out. So everybody comes out, and you have to shake it off. It's like a reddish.
Shake it off.
Yeah, it's like this reddish film. So you're coming out of the gas chamber, and they make you wave your arms. You're like, I'm a bird and I'm trying to fly, and you're shaking off the CS gas, and you can't breathe. And it was a pain in the dick. I mean, it really, really sucked. But anyway,
I could see people having a panic attack during there, and possibly having a heart attack.
Some freaked out, man. It was weird, but we can get more into this later. I'll tell you what we're going to do, Eric. We have not taken a break at all, if you can believe that. We've gone an hour and 15 minutes without a break. And plus, our guest is waiting in the wings, the great Cody Souza of the band Hatriot, one of my favorite bands. Get ready to hit the road. They are getting ready to hit the road with David Ellefson and crew to do the Kings of Thrash, which is reliving the original Megadeth album, Killing Is My Business, as well as the So Far So Good So What. And those will be cool. But as soon as we get back, we'll talk to Cody about the reason you want to get there early instead of being a lame piece of shit just showing up late. You need to get there to see these guys because they absolutely 5 records in and they absolutely murder as far as thrash goes. So you definitely gonna want to check that out. They are hateful, that is for sure. But we will check with them in a minute. But first, a word from a sponsor, and then we'll play a little bit of Hatriot. We will be back with Cody Souza of Hatriot right after this. It's Chris Akin Presents. It's that time of year again, friends. It's tax time. We all know it sucks, but it sucks a lot less when you do your taxes with a simple and easy service. File Your Taxes provides no gimmicks and gives you no surprises. Their pricing is transparent, and their system is easy to navigate while preparing your taxes. Visit them online at taxes.cmspn.com and walk right through your tax preparation and filing in a snap. File your taxes now with no surprises. Taxes.cmspn.com. Budget Pet Care is the leading online supplier of pet healthcare products that provide branded healthcare products throughout the United States. They provide quality brand name pet supplies for flea and tick treatments, dewormers, nutritional supplements, eye, ear, and joint care treatments for all cats and dogs, including Frontline Plus, Advantage, K9 Advantix, Capstar, and more. Go to https://bit.ly/CMSPNBPC and use the promo code GREEN20 to save 20% on your next order. Shop Budget Pet Care today. All right, Erik, that was the first ever ballad from Hatriot, if you can believe that. That was their ballad. That's their light song.
Wow.
That is called Verminous and Vile, and here to talk all about it, as well as his band and his tour and all the good shit going on with Hatriot, the great Cody Souza. Cody, how are you, man?
What's going on, Chris and Erik? How are you guys?
Good, man.
Very well, sir. Welcome to our show.
Living the dream, my guy, right?
Absolutely.
A little foggy there.
That was
Nice.
brutal, and I loved it, man.
Oh, dude, yeah. You guys speaking of our ballad, I really pride that song kind of like, you know, since the departure of Pops, Zetro, and I kind of took over vocals, we always have like this little death metal element that we really love and yearn for. And I say, like, if we're ever playing with like these up and coming death bands, like death metal bands and stuff like that, that one definitely could get slid right in there. It's our little piece of death thrash, you know.
Exactly.
Sure.
So good.
It is so good, man. As is the whole record, man. This is you guys' 5th release, I believe. The Veil of
Fourth,
Shadows.
I believe. Yeah,
fourth in the demo.
And the demo. I guess you're correct. You're correct on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I know your dad, and your dad when the demo came out, I'll just tell you, and we won't turn this into a Zetro talk, but
no, I can't.
But I just remember when the demo came out, your dad was hitting up every single one of us journos that he knew.
Yeah.
And he was like, you got to hear this, dude. You got to hear it. This is my kid's band. You got to hear it. And I mean,
yeah,
he was sending it to all of us. So we were aware of your band. And if I remember right, it came out a pretty good amount of time before you guys actually released the first record.
Yeah, probably about 2 years. I mean, at that point, I think my brother hadn't even entered in as our drummer yet. You know, people say the first lineup is the first album, right? Alex Bent of Trivium actually was still the drummer
Right.
of that album. We had obviously Costa V has always been there, and I've always been there. But yeah, we had Pops there. And then on that first demo, we had another guy on guitar too. So it wasn't our Miguel Esparza that we're used to right now. So, but
Exactly.
yeah, he was hot to trot. He got the website up. I mean, he was like gung ho to get this thing up and going and moving. I don't think there was as many hurdles getting a band off the ground as it was. You know, it's a lot of these guys, get side projects and kind of get these things going, and they wanted to get as much traction as possible. And there's always the classic fans, but it's an own brand and it's an own entity in its own right? So definitely, when I guess the changing of the guard happened and we removed Sir Zetro from Hatriot duties, and we let him go out with Exodus and just focus on that and just do a fucking good job kicking ass with them every night. And then it just kind of naturally came into the fold. Me and my brother took the band over as far as managerially and just been running with it since. I mean, we have managers now and everything, but as the lead,
Sure.
drive, I guess we'd call it. So
Sure. And I'll tell you, as a fan of the band, the one thing that I've appreciated, especially the last, I'll say 4 or 5 years, I don't want to just say pandemic because you guys were actually doing this beforehand.
yeah,
But you guys have kept the fans involved. You guys have always kind of been, maybe I don't want to say like your social media whores like so many of the bands, but I love the fact that a lot of times you guys will just throw a cell phone up somewhere and then jam for an hour. And there won't even be vocals sometimes. It's just you guys. And a lot of times it's stuff that ends up, like, it's funny because I did follow you guys a lot during the pandemic, and you guys did do that a lot. And a lot of the riffs turned out to become the stuff that is now the new record, which is very cool.
Yeah. We were very pent up we want to follow Pops' footsteps, me and my brother and the two other gentlemen. And I think it was 2019, right before the pandemic. We had just released the Days Into Darkness, our the one before the most recent. And that was kind of my freshman album without Pops. And first one with me on vocals, first one for the wall. What are they just carrying on the moniker? They just trying to zombie band this, and ultimately the proof kind of spoke for itself. I kept my vocals, added some death metal elements in there. I kind of do my Pops thing. I sound like my father a lot, but I also sound like Zetro I sound like Zetro. I also sound like Trevor from Black Dahlia, right? So I try to blend that in there. I throw some George Corpse Grinder on the lows. You know what I mean? I do some different things that I've always prided my life. What's cool is that it always kept it in the moniker of Hatriot. I sound a little like my Pops, so it kind of carried it. And that album was a good transition. And as you were saying, we all like put our jobs aside, and like we all like were ready to hit this. We were on European flyers and festivals. We were like ready for this thing to take off, and the pandemic hit, and pandemic then ends, right? And then all those European festivals were continuing, and we weren't on the flyers anymore. And we're like, hey, yeah, that's old. Yeah, I'm like, but no one's done anything. What do you mean that's old? Like, all right, well, F them. We'll get back in the studio, use all our pent-up aggression during the pandemic, and come out with the VALE of Shadows, which has done numbers for us, man, as far as just reaching out to friends, reaching out to new fans. We're officially working with FM Management now, who have the likes of Testament, Death Angel, Saliva, countless others.
Right.
Hypocrisy. I mean, yeah, you can go through there. And then, we're also with Continental Touring in the U.S. now, too. So it's kind of getting us that step that we feel we needed to get out of the local scene, running circles and circles around California. And as you guys were talking about earlier, Mr. Ellison's going to take us out for our first Central and East Coast run here. So we're very excited for that.
Absolutely, man. Well, man, one of the coolest things about Hatriot to me, and I think it's also the biggest misconception of Hatriot, because of your dad's early involvement in the band, everybody compares it to Exodus. Yeah. And I don't hear it. I do not. I think you guys are just, Exodus is almost rhythmic, I guess, where you guys are like, here's the sledgehammer, there's your face, and I'm going to hit it. I mean, that's how you guys seem to attack it. And it really, to me, like you said, Black Dahlia is a much better comparison for you guys than Exodus, I think.
Yeah, we keep getting thrown into the thrash and the thrash revival. It's like, us, Lich King, Bonded by Blood, the
Right.
Warbringers, right? All the, I mean, and we're probably the smallest name of mentioning right now, but people are looping us into that. And I'm like, that's totally cool. And that's definitely the bloodline it came from. The last album, people were calling it like, what is it? Ungenreable. They're calling it, it's like melodic death, thrash core, melodic, like, I don't know. And it's like, yeah, I think we're more like death thrashers, to be honest. But I mean, it's all a genre of rock which we love, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
So at the end of the day, man, I'll take whatever moniker people want to put on it. I just I pride ourselves with our musical abilities to be able to play with people from the 80s, to be able to play with the new bands of today. We have blast beats, we have dual ripping solos. I mean, you want it. I think Hatriot pretty much brings it for sure.
You have to be so good as a musician to play this stuff, specifically the drummers. You know what I mean? There's a lot of bands that can get away with maybe having fake drums for the recordings or whatever, but it's still got to be played live. You got to get somebody who can ballpark that stuff. How hard is it to keep a guy that good in the band, or find somebody like that?
Yeah, I mean, luckily it's my brother, right? So I'm kind of a family affair.
Right.
As I alluded to, he wasn't he is the original drummer as far as an album's concerned. We did have Alex before that, which was a big part of Nick becoming the player that he was today. But it's cool that, like, I don't know if you've ever worked with family or not, you can kind of give them a real talk, and either two ways when you work with a family. It's a real talk and everything's okay, or it's a real talk and it's a fight, right? So
Right.
However you want to do that, But I mean, that's funny you say that, Eric. That was always a question in high school when we were in high school, like putting bands and stuff together. Because my brother was 4 years younger than me, so he was still in middle school as we were in high school. He ended up being our drummer anyways. But it was like everyone we interviewed, it's like, yeah, I can play rock. Okay, can you play death metal though? But can you play death metal? Like, it's like someone says, oh yeah, I can play death metal. Like, you already know the time changes and the fills. Like, there has to be a certain part to play death metal, So
that's it right there. It's like there's time changes involved. Like, I'm a rock guy. I even as a guitarist, I wouldn't do well in a gig like that just because I'm terrible. It has to be 4/4 for me, or at least seem like it is.
Yeah, most of that is for us too. We're not like doing Periphery or Meshuggah or anything like crazy and out there. There's some stuff.
It's smooth. That track we just listened to, because sometimes that music could be a little much for me and make me want to go like start murdering people.
Yeah,
but there was something about it where I was like, man, I like this. And then it was cool that it was a lyric video, so I got to see some of the lyrics when I saw that. Fleas of Fire. Remind me of the apartment I just moved out of.
Oh no!
It was in the hood, and everybody had dogs there. And there was the fleas just took over, and it was they chased us out of there. But anyways,
oh man,
awesome stuff.
Yeah, that was about the bubonic plague. So that's how all the rats and the black plague was spread, was all through the fleas and stuff. And that's why the picture on that one is the plague doctor.
Right.
Yeah, gazing through leather as I read your final act is one of the lyrics and stuff, and we love that. So,
do you write? Did you come up with this? Do you write all these lyrics?
Yeah, I had a hand in on that one. A few of them we had a bunch of like Hatriot hands in on all of them. I believe I had a small hand on Verminous and Vile. And then there's a few others where it's like, oh, I did a line or two here, but we give credit to someone else, or and they do it for one of our songs, and we trade back and forth. But it's pretty much a whole process. But yeah, we all grab a few songs lyrically, and then we combine with the two. A few as well. What's funny is how you say like how we're all like, you want to go kill somebody when you listen to that music, and I'm just sitting there watching your guys' puppy commercial, like, oh my god, I love puppies. Like I got two sleeping by me right now. There's one in the corner, I got one below me, and like, we're all just giant softies at heart. I believe when I met my wife's mother for the first time, she like didn't know what to think, and I'm like, kitties, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
We're easy, man. So
that's awesome.
That's funny. Oh, so Cody, obviously you've done several records now, and you've had a lot of musicians. There's been a lot of people that have come through the Hatriot doors.
Mm-hmm.
How has the creative process changed as people have come in and out, and just as you and your brother have grown as musicians?
Excellent question. I believe like really since the pandemic, since you kind of marked, when we started taking Hatriot seriously, you mentioned that earlier, and that's where we really put the stake in the ground. We all switched jobs so we can tour. We got on the road and everything, or a little bit here and there. But the process we try to do smarter, not harder. You can see there's an e-kit behind me. I'm in a what we call a makeshift stream lab now, right? This is where I do my Twitches and stuffs from. But we can all practice digitally. We all send each other files. We all work digitally. If you caught Hatriot before the pandemic, or before that 2019, that last record, you know, when my father's still in the band, you'd probably catch us going to practice 2 or 3 times a week, just burning gas, burning time, going through the motions. I think me becoming a foreman at work kind of turned me more into a go-getter guy instead of like us all showing up and okay, we'll learn this one next time. It's like, dude, no, we just burnt like 10 man hours between all of us and got nothing effing done. You know, and my dad's a union guy, and he got me into the trades early and stuff, you know. And once I kind of learned like those foreman skills, there was an evolution of Hatriot there, but we totally have revamped how we do everything. And I feel we're trying to lead a model on what it takes to survive nowadays during the metal, you know, as an upcoming metal band. Like we still have to have a job. We're trying to turn that page to where guarantees can pay stuff. They don't, right? And we're just trying to stay alive, get in the public's eye, and just show everybody we're doing what we love. And there's really nothing that's going to stop us, you know?
Right on.
So.
Well, and you know, it's funny that you mention about that you streamlined the recording process, because to me, when I listen to this compared to From Days Unto Darkness, this is way more raw. This feels way more organic and way more just in a room jamming than the previous record.
Yeah. I mean, it's file sharing, right? Someone will send it. Oh no, you should do this. Oh no, I added this to it. Like, so there still is that creative flow, you know. 90%, 85% of everything still comes through Costa V initially, our guitar wizard. You know, he is what would be the brain of Hatriot, you know what I mean, or backbone, whatever you want to call it, whatever body part you want to slide us all into.
The fist.
The fist. He does most of that, and then me and my brother will kind of throw some things at it. And you know, we recently got our guitar player Miguel back, even after our most recent album. So our first guitar player, Miguel, off of Heroes of Origin, is now back in the mix, and he has a lot of writing and solos and stuff he's been adding to what is a new album I can't talk too much about, but you're kind of talking about the creative and the process. I mean, we've worked it to where we operate this like a small business that doesn't make much money, but you still got to operate it like a small business, right? So we have our front of house, what everyone sees, what everyone does, what, you know, what the public interviews, Twitch, podcasts, all the stuff we do during the week. And then there's back of house stuff. I mean, there's lyrics and stuff I haven't written yet, and there's things that I should be practicing, but like we are so shoveling things down this funnel of a pipe. I mean, I like to say caught in an ever state of content creation, which sadly is how you get seen nowadays. I didn't want to accept it forever. You're kind of talking to people that are like, oh, you guys are social media whores or whatever. And it's like, power to whoever can get up every day and make a new video every freaking day, let alone we try to do 3 a day, you know. It's it can be a headache and a half, but we love what we do, and it's evolved into this. It's a life rhythm now at that point, you know.
So are you guys able to record yourselves? You don't have to like go into a studio. You're set up where you can independently make your records.
So ultimately, when it comes to a record, anything pre-production, we all do ourselves. I mean, like you said, I kind of showed the camera real quick. There's a little studio here. Everyone has their own little mini somehows to get tracks onto a file and get it on a Dropbox. And then whether, you know, my brother wants to come here and do e-drum, whatever, just to lay something down. But ultimately, we still work with a professional for the final product. So every album we've done so far has been with Juan Urtiaga. Out of Trident Studios. He's done Machine Head, he's done Exodus, he's done Testa, he's done everybody right in the Bay Area. He's a very, very stapled name for the Bay Area, very good at his craft. I recommend any up and coming band, has no ego, right? He will work with anybody. So anyone in the Bay Area or willing to travel, check out Juan Urtiaga, man. He's always given us that professional noise. But yeah, pretty much we use what we do in our little studios as our roadmap. It is literally our pre-production. It may not sound it. It may not be like, you know, all the bells and whistles, but we know how we want it to sound. The worst thing we can do is get into a studio with a professional's time on a AAA heavy metal contract, right? However much money is in that, and be like, you know, I think we should do this on this song.
Yeah, you don't have time for that shit.
Pull a death clock and like delete a song halfway through. No, man, we have a roadmap. We have to do this. We got to get the F out. Like it is.
Right.
It's all about budget. How well it sounds is how efficient we are to get in the studio and get out. So
You can realize your visions this way when you don't have that pressure of the studio time. You're on your own time. You can actually make epic metal songs again.
Yeah.
Where you would have needed multi-million-dollar budgets to do that back in the day. And now you guys, even though you're not getting paid, the amount of money that you're saving doing that, remember that these labels too, you would never pay that back if they paid for it all.
Right.
You know what I mean? You'd be working 20 years and they'd be like, no, you still haven't paid off that Hatriot record from
we're still working the first
2022.
record off. Yeah, it's just kind of it's the name of the game. That one might be paid off now, but yeah, we're working our way through the ranks, like you said. It's heavy metal, man. When you hit it, you'll finally hit it, but until then, you're kind of dealt with your demographic and your market. But I mean, as long as you, I hate to sound like a yuppie, as long as you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Right? So here I am, right?
True though.
Truth.
It
Well,
is the truth.
let me compare you to Erik for a second, just because I see a parallel, and I want to see if you guys agree or disagree or whatnot.
Okay.
In case you don't know, Cody, Erik is Stephen Pearcy's guitar player. And he tours with them and he writes with them and they record together.
Fuck yeah.
That being said, there's an expectation of a Stephen Pearcy record. When Stephen Pearcy puts out something, he can't go and do something that sounds like Trent Reznor. You know,
right.
Same thing with you guys, at least previously, because your dad, obviously legendary vocalist.
Yeah.
He's in your band. People probably had the same expectation for you guys.
Yeah.
Is that a nuisance that, especially now with your dad out of the band, is it a nuisance that you've overcome, or is it something that you still find yourself having to fight people on every day?
Oh, it's a good question. Kind of a little bit of both. I think I would say the vast majority have accepted what I've done without him and accepted Hatriot as its own entity, right?
Okay.
We were kind of jamming without him in the get-go. He kind of threw himself in the mix. He had no band. Excellent opportunity, fun project with our dad and everything, right? Like I said, that last record, From Days into Darkness, was a good bridge. I still had a lot of Zetro in my moniker, still like very Mel was trying to, I use the word page turn a lot, but a solid page turn to where there were, the fans would still keep interest and would give us some kind of basis to move forward on, ultimately because we still love the music that was being made. Like we still created all that ourselves. Like my dad's a vocalist. He didn't write any guitar parts. You know what I mean?
Right.
He'd be a dick, right? But it is what it is. So it's like now, like you said, the freedom is a little nice. We took a chance on this one.
Sure.
Our two songs that have gotten the most reaction off the most recent album are the two melodic death metal songs. And it's like, okay, Zetro, I don't think could have put out Megadeth songs. Those songs actually, what is it? Horns and Halos. It was, I think it was written maybe an album or two ago. And we were just like, nope, that can't go on there. People are going to hate that. And, this time we kind of grabbed the cojones and we're like, you know what? This is us.
Right.
Suck one. This is what we like to do. There's screaming, there's blast beats over it. It's still very much metal. I mean, taking a page out of In Flames. I'm sorry, we love Gothenburg, Sweden. So there's some melodic in there, and people really dug to it. So it's been cool. Yeah, it's been less relinquishing lately. It's not like you're going to see a blues or a prog album come out of Hatriot. You know what I mean? But definitely things that we like. We like deathcore. We like classical death metal. We like melodic death metal. We like thrash. We like rock. We like, so we're naturally going to blend the things in that we like. And also at the same token, though, try to not alienate listeners.
Sure.
It's like, you love your craft, you don't cater to the listener. It's like, well, I mean, let's make it as extreme as possible, but the thumbs still like it. And I call the thumbs are the people that go to 2 concerts a year and throw the horns like this, right? Instead of doing this. So do the thumbs dig it? I mean, I'm sorry, the thumbs are the vast.
That's awesome.
The thumbs are the vast majority of the fucking metal fan, So, yeah, if the thumbs dig it and the underground, new core kids dig it, I'm with it too. So
I'm going to tell you, the thumbs just made TikTok, whether you like it or not, because I am so stealing that for TikTok.
Oh, dude, do it. I'd love to get that run and tag me in it for sure. I'm trying to get my page is getting some run.
Very nice, dude. Well, dude, obviously, man, the big news in the Hatriot camp is that you're coming this way. Thank God. I mean, it's been forever that you guys have done the circuit between LA and Frisco and repeat, you throw
Reno in there, right? That's
exactly.
Maybe once up to Grants Pass, Oregon. Yeah, exactly.
But this is, I can't wait. I'm full well planning to see you guys in both Cleveland and Pittsburgh, because I'm friends with Ellefson, so I'm almost obligated. But two, Two, I want to. I want to because I want to see obviously the early years of Megadeth redone, but I want to see your band as a fan of for 10 years. I mean, I've been a fan as long as it's been a band, and I'm very excited to see it. I'm curious for you because you have a slightly different past than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly Megadeth's music influence to you. No, there's no question about that.
Oh,
but
sure.
Did you know those guys like as a little kid? I mean, was David Ellefson or Dave Mustaine or whoever, were they ever in your circle?
No, I don't think the Megadeth guys were too much. Of course, Dave Jr. and my dad are friends, right? I don't know how far Dave Sr., Mr. Megadeth and my dad go. Obviously, they know of each other.
Sure.
Killing Is My Business was the first actual Megadeth album that I had heard back in the day. I found it in one of my dad's friends' CDs, like CD stacks. Remember the stacks? And
right.
Like, oh, I know Megadeth. Totally ripped it out when I was like 9 or 10 and threw it in and enjoyed it. But yeah, they never. I've been around the Metallica guys, all the Bay Area thrash guys, the Death Angel boys. I mean, you name it, Testament guys, Machine Head guys. But this will be a first for me. I can't recall. I even played Dave's Jr.'s basses when Hatriot first started. I got endorsed by Jackson before I was at the ESP, and the only model they had was Dave Jr.'s. So I played that.
Dave Jr.
for the first. It's just street talk, right? Mr. Ellefson's model, signature model on that. So, but yeah, I know maybe the Dave Jr. stuff should stop lately, huh?
I'm just gonna give you. I'm gonna give you a piece of advice. I wouldn't call him Dave Jr.
No, I wouldn't do his head. We're stop talking, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, people call me Zet's kid still. I mean, there's no disrespect by that at all. Only the
of course.
Respect. But
nice.
Yeah, Mr. Ellefson, it's gonna be awesome meeting him, and as I kind of said in my press statement, learning the tricks of the trade from him too, man. Like, seeing how these guys go out and do it, and it's going to be 31 days straight thrashing for us. We got some routing days and some fill-in days and a couple surprises along the way. People are screaming some states that aren't mentioned on there that will end up getting hit. So it's going to be a lot. But like I said, it's going to be a big learning curve, and we're just excited to go out as a unit.
Hell yeah.
How fun.
Dude, well, I'm gonna email. I'll have your publicist hit you up, but I want to, if you guys have time, the day that you're in Pittsburgh, I own the 5th largest pinball arcade in the country.
Oh shoot!
And I want you guys to come out. It's going to cost you a photo in front of my sign because that's what we do. But it's only like.
Talked to my dad recently about his pinball collecting.
I have talked to your dad about pinball, and
he's starting to get them around the house. They're popping up all over the place.
Not like this. This is 400 machines. I mean, it's a huge place. So, I'd love to have you guys come out and venture in. But I know for you guys, it's got to be exciting, but probably daunting, I'm imagining, coming to this side because you just don't know how many people are aware of you on this. Yeah. I mean, you get social media messages and whatnot, but let's face it. If you put out a date, if you put out Pittsburgh at Jurgles, I'm sure you get 10,000 people are like, I'm going. Click the little click, and then 400 people show up. And it's like, what the fuck? It's like
400 sounds a lot better than what we get in the Bay Area sometimes. So I don't know how iconic our scene is, but trying to get someone to go to a show lately. But yeah, it's a little daunting. We're gonna be jumping in the van. Like I said, our last run with Ex Mortis and Silver Talon was 15 days, 16 days. So this is gonna be 31. Also long routings. I believe we start in Illinois and we end in Georgia. Bunch of Bay Area boys. So we got some driving ahead of us. So,
I got a question. Why are you, when you travel for this, what's the plan going to be gear wise? Are you lugging, like, how much gear are you going to take for this?
We're probably going to take our whole setup. We try to go smarter, not harder again with that. It's pretty much our van and our single axle trailer that we take. We both own. We're lucky and fortunate for that. But yeah, it's going to be 410s for everybody, 412s for the guitar players, no full stacks.
Half stacks.
Yeah, half stacks. We most of us, or 2 of us, are digital. One is a Kemper. I have a Bias Effects, and then Costa uses a new little amp that he likes, which is pretty small. We scrim the front of them, so we kind of hide the appeal that we are going slim.
Yeah, totally.
We pride ourselves too that something we try to set ourselves apart in the West Coast a little different. We have our own little ground mounted light show, so it doesn't integrate with the board at the venue. It's all like our smokers and lights, and it's all programmed and automated. Whether we're allowed to use those or not, I'll let you guys know. But we will definitely be using them on routing dates for sure. So if anyone ends up catching us there, but yeah, we're gonna keep it light. We're gonna go in there. We got to sleep in vans. We're gonna have to try to get a hotel room every few days to maintenance up on ourselves, and it's gonna be a grind for sure. But we're ready for it, man. So
Baby wipes are good. Take baby wipes.
dude, yes, we baby wiped every morning. I'd wake up. All right, boys, now wash your crevices. I'm the man mother, so
I've done my share of sink showers. It can be done.
oh, dude, and then some of the venues like you see on the itinerary, and this is our last tour. It's like, oh, sweet, this place has a fucking shower. Where were we at? Portland. I don't remember what the place is called. And it was literally a bucket with like a freaking thing coming out. Like you catch something walking in there, and that I was like, nope, not showering here. I'll wait till we get back to Oakland. Fuck that.
Bring some shower shoes or some flip flops or something, because yeah, a lot of venues do have a shower in it, but it's usually pretty nasty.
Some of them were pretty nasty. Some of them were not bad, and some were like just straight rank. Like
House of Blues probably has the best as far as across the board. The country, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if we're at that level yet, though. I will try. I think we have a few decent-sized theaters on this one, so for sure.
Well, I'm going to tell you for a fact, you definitely want shower shoes when you hit the Beachland Ballroom here. That's not a floor you want to stand on. No.
I'll have my slides ready to roll, right?
Exactly. Well, Cody, obviously, man, the record is great. The tour is going to be great. I cannot wait till next month to see you guys. I'm really looking for, and Erik will tell you, for me to say I'm going to 2 shows, actually traveling to see a show, that's big. I don't travel anywhere. So for me,
rarely goes anywhere.
So for me saying up front, I'm traveling, I want to come, I want to come to the Pittsburgh show too. You know, and I definitely do want to have you guys come out and play some pinball. And, you're probably going to need a break, because that's like the 28th or whatever. That's like way deep in the tour. So,
yeah, let us know for sure. Either we got to hit up, like you said, Dustin earlier.
Yeah, I'll hit Dustin up.
I'm easy, man. I live on social media all day long. It's
Nice.
a necessary evil for trying to grow a brand. I hate to say that.
Exactly.
I tried to tell my girlfriend that.
Yeah,
she don't care. Well, Cody, obviously, man, tell people where they can keep up with you and get Veil of Shadows and buy Veil of Shadows, not stream it for fuck's sake. Buy the record.
Yeah, hatriot.bigcartel.com is our main merch site. You can get all of the CDs there. Vinyl has been difficult for a AAA record contract. It is available. You have to hunt for it. Amazon would be probably the easiest place where you're not paying a bunch of shipping and whatnot. I believe you can get it at Nuclear Blast's Euro website as well, too. There's a few links in there. If you go to our link in bio on Instagram, our, drum.io/Hatriot official, every single one of our links is there. Our YouTube, our Twitch, our Discord, our Twitter, our TikTok, our Instagram, our Facebook. It's getting out of hand, but they're all necessarily evil.
Yeah.
To meet every one of the fans that we want to meet and see out there, and just get our name out there and show that we want to carry metal into the next echelon, man. That we're carrying the torch. We want to. So
Absolutely. Well, you've got my endorsement as a 10-year follower of the band. I love the band. So I mean, even on my other show, on Classic Metal Show, we play Hatriot quite a bit because
Chris, thank you.
because I love what you guys do, and it's so ferocious. And like you said, you guys are so weirdly falsely put in, especially like Warbringer. And I'm not shitting on them. I love them. I love John. John's great. John Knievel. But you guys and them, that's 2 different bands, 2 different sounds.
Right.
Not even close to being the same thing. And there's no amount of heavy that I like. That's too much for me. So it's like keep it coming. So
it's a charcuterie board lately. I've been telling everybody that, it's like I love it all. Give me some pirate metal, some thrash metal, new era thrash metal,
There you go.
What I've been saying lately, we grew up on Hot Pockets and Lunchables. We now have cheese zombies and charcuterie boards. We're built for this life, dude. So.
Very nice, dude. Well, one more time, the album is called The Veil of Shadows. It is Hatriot. And Cody, I thought the way we'd wrap this up is by playing a little bit of Horns and Halos, which is the video that's out there. And so to wrap it up, why don't you tell us a little bit about the video and the song?
Yeah, man, definitely. So this song was, like I said earlier, was our first more melodic, thrash death album song that we put out there, an album song. This was one that we kind of stepped out on the diving board for with the sharks swimming below, and it seems that everyone gravitated to us. Even Matt Hafey of Trivium has given us shout outs and praise for this song.
Cool.
He ended up hearing it through Alex and my dad, and like it just ecstatic, man. I look up to him like a role model. So him and everyone else has picked it up and enjoyed it. We worked with Mike Sloat doing the video on this one. He does most of the Machine Head videos as well too. So good thing living in the Bay and having a few a few contacts, as you can get some people that do some pretty cool stuff to help you out, and we're very fortunate for that. The song ultimately though is we wrote it about the metal scene. We feel that the metal scene is very, we call it Games of Thrones-esque. Everyone is killing each other just to get to the frickin' throne. And kind of why we called the song Horns and Halos. One of the lines is, "This world I've been born to, remorseless and vain, where this hierarchy pecking order pulls the strings and runs the game." And we feel it's often the truth. So hopefully, Horns and Halos can raise our Game of Thrones rank up on there. No, I'm kidding. But, it's something that we just kind of notice and monitor from the outside. Everyone, most people support each other, but a lot of people are very, very out for themselves. And that song kind of shows that. So.
Right on. Well, let's check it out right now. It is Horns and Halos. It's Hatriot. And Cody, thanks so much for joining us. And, we will talk again soon.
Appreciate you, brother. Much love.
All right, brother.
Right on, Cody.
All right, later.
Hey everybody, it's Chris Akin from all the shows, and wanted to share with you one of my other passions other than music. That, of course, being coffee. Anybody that's listened to me knows that I love coffee. And I have found another great brand, ladies and gentlemen, that you guys need to check out. Simply named, no gimmicks to it at all. It's just Coffee Brand Coffee. It's fantastic coffee, and I am not kidding you. They have everything that you would possibly want. Their coffee is excellent. I like the Roaster's Choice, but they have the pumpkin spice and all that other stuff, all the flavored stuff that you might like. They've got K-Cups for you. They've got cold brews. They offer tea. They've got cocoa. They literally have everything that you would want. So if you're looking for a great coffee, if you don't want to just settle for the crap that they sell you at the grocery store, this is another fine alternative. Coffee Brand Coffee. Just go to www.bit.ly/CMS Coffee. One more time, bit.ly/CMS Coffee, and use the coupon code CMSPN to save a little bit of money, and you can get some of the best coffee that is available today. So one more time, it is Coffee Brand Coffee. We love it here at the Classic Metal Show, and you will too. So get some today, folks. Coffee Brand Coffee. Are you a fan of the Classic Metal Show? If you are, then you should know that the show does not end on Saturday nights. Become a VIP of the Classic Metal Show and be part of the fun each and every day of the week. VIPs get exclusive content not heard in my personal interviews that I do on Chris Akin Presents, as well as heavy metal conversation that is not posted on any other social media platform. This stuff is exclusive. And what else do I bring you? I bring you the after the interview talk with the rock stars, just a lot of stuff that you wouldn't get anywhere else. You also get the exclusive third segment of the Classic Metal Show podcast weekly, which is not released free on any other platform. Finally, you get access to the Chat and Kill chat room, the lone place we look during the show for interactivity on the show. It's the only place, so be part of the show by joining. It's a lot of fun, and it's only $5 a month. So join us today at classicmetalshow.locals.com. Hail and kill. Yeah, pal. Hail and kill.
Hail and kill. Fuck you, pal.
That's right. And a hand job. So Cody Souza, man, how great was he? He was fun.
He was a great guest.
Yeah, I cannot say enough about his band too. I'm really, I know everybody says, oh, it's easy to say you love a band every time you have them on. I'm gonna tell you guys a secret. If they're live on the show, I'm gonna be a fan. That's a given. The bands that I'm not a fan of, those are the ones that you might hear on the solo editions of Chris Akin Presents, because those are the ones where I might just be going through the motions a little bit. But the ones I bring here, I bring them here because I am a fucking huge fan. And
10 years you've been listening to these guys.
I have even longer because like I said, his dad, Zetro. I've known Zet for several of his bands, not even just Exodus. He's had a couple of other bands in between as well. I've known Zet for a while. And when he first started with the demo, it was like a 3-song demo, I think it was. And I remember him sending me like MP3s. He's like, dude, you got to fucking hear this. You got to fucking hear that. And I was like, yes. And what I remember was I asked him if I could play it. And he said, no. He's like, I don't know, we're not there yet, whatever. And then, like I said to Cody, it was like a really long time between the demos and the release. And I didn't know what was going on. I'm not in the Bay Area, so I didn't know what was going on, if they broke up, if they were just decided it wasn't happening, nothing. And then it came back. I was like, fuck, yes. And I've been in for a decade, man. 4 records and the demo so far. So good shit.
Impressive. See, and I don't follow the metal scene so much. I haven't in a long time.
Sure.
So it's good that you do. But sadly, then I have stupid questions every time these bands come on. I always ask the worst question.
Did you ask? What stupid question did you
ask?
Well,
for one, when I ask them tonight, I go, how hard is it to find a drummer? And the drummer is his freaking brother.
Yeah, but how would you know that? How would you know that?
Well, if I knew the band for 10 years, I should know that like you do, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, but,
so
but
right away,
I'm going to tell you why that's not a stupid question.
Okay.
Because everybody that's listening that isn't me, that's a fucking ridiculous tard when it comes to music, doesn't know that. They don't. They know what you know. They're learning about. We had however many people we had watching live tonight. 9 of every 10 of them have not heard Hatriot before. It's just a fact.
Okay, well, fair enough then.
That's just not. I mean, that's just a fact. Again, those guys, even with 10 years in the business, they're a baby band. They are a baby band. They haven't, right when they were, and he hit it on the head. They were so poised to really be the breakout band of that whole new age of thrash metal. Like them, and then the one band that has gotten more popular is that band Havoc, that really blew up. And they were right there. And then the pandemic hit and just sidelined it big time. So it's great that they're back with an absolutely intense record, and that they're getting this tour. This tour is fantastic for them. Being out there in front of Ellison's people and the people that are pissed off about him being kicked out of Megadeth. That's a great show for a new band that is doing it and does it well, but also does it with a lot of different influences. That's fucking fantastic for them.
Well, he's not the only guy that was kicked out of Megadeth that's going to be there.
Yeah, that's
pretty much the whole band has been kicked out of Megadeth at some point. Is that not correct?
That is correct. Everybody's been kicked out of Megadeth once. I think Stephen Pearcy must have been in Megadeth at some point, because everybody's been in Megadeth, weren't they?
It's plausible. But no, it was a cool lineup though. I mean, for kids nowadays, they think that this music just was invented a few years ago.
I know. Yeah. And I mean, it's dude, to go back and hear the creators of, especially Killing Is My Business.
Exactly.
I mean, it's such an iconic record. And I'm gonna be honest, even the old heads like me did not discover Megadeth on that record. I mean, I'm as diehard as they come, but I discovered Megadeth on Peace Sells.
Right.
Because Peace Sells was the one that had the MTV and had all the airplay. And then once Peace Sells was going, then went backwards and got Killing Is My Business. That's how I discovered it. Now, again, I lived on this coast, so, you know, I wasn't in the mix. I probably, if I was living in San Francisco or LA at the time, I'm sure I would have known of Megadeth, but
Those guys were still in the band on that record, though, right? That lineup was still the same, right?
Yeah, that lineup was the same for I believe the first three, for Killing, Peace Cells, and So Far So Good So What.
And they had their pictures on the record. Like if you back then when we had albums and stuff, you know, you look and those guys were there. So it is a big deal that they are going to play those songs because they're the ones that recorded it. You know, you're going to hear it the way it was meant to be done. And you had to be good back then to play that shit. I'm assuming that Dave Mustaine wrote all those riffs. But I bet these guys threw some solos and stuff in there.
I don't know that that's necessarily 100% true either. You know, I mean, if you ask Dave Mustaine, he'll tell you that. But I don't know that everybody else would agree with that. I'm sure there's some people that are going to be on that tour that would disagree that Dave wrote everything. You know, but whatever.
Well, the big thing back then I remembered was you got to hear the song Mechanics.
Oh yeah. Sounds just like Hit the Lights or whatever.
Right. Killing. Yeah. That no, it was Four Horsemen.
Four Horsemen. Yeah.
It was basically that they had stolen Four Horsemen, which all my friends, we were familiar with Four Horsemen off Kill 'Em All. But then to go back and go, whoa, it's like, and it was still cool though, because it was like Four Horsemen, but like twice as fast.
Yeah, twice as fast and way more mean.
Yeah, just pissed off.
Yeah, I loved it. I huge. I mean, that's my music there. I always say I'm a Bay Area scene guy. That's my music. All my favorite bands are that era. Yeah, it's all Testament, Exodus, Anthrax, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer. Those are all like like 6 of my top 10. You know,
it was for me too at that time. When I was the first time I ever played in front of people was at Oak Crest Junior High School at Encinitas here in 9th grade, and it was funny because, you know, playing Metallica covers, we didn't have a bass player, and it's funny because, you know, we always make fun of Justice for All, you can't hear the bass, but it actually works. Like to play those songs, you don't really need a bass player,
right?
But we played a couple different Metallica songs, and we did play the Megadeth version of Anarchy in the UK.
Okay.
Which was even, you know, you would think
snottier.
They're not going to do a better version, but it was a really cool metal version of that.
It was like a snottier version of Anarchy in the UK. I love that song.
Yeah, and so we played. I think we opened like Creeping Death,
nice
or something, and it was so funny. We're just little kids basically, but the kids loved it, man. And we had no singer either. It was just, but the music was that good.
Sure.
You know, there's so much going on musically that it entertained them enough that when we were finished, they all, you know, stood up and clapped, and it was probably my first time playing thrash metal.
Dude, it's ironic. Creeping Death was the first song that I played in an actual paying gig with my one and only band, Distorted Illusion. That was the first song we ever did was Creeping Death. And
we were the Broken Smokes.
We were Distorted Illusion. You can just imagine what years that was. Hello, 91. I'm back. You know, nice. But yeah, just good stuff. Enjoyed having Cody on. Man, this show flew by tonight. Look at that. We're already done. Can you believe that shit?
Boom.
And here we were on the phone at 3:00 going, I hope we have enough shit to talk about tonight. You know?
Yeah, we did fine. I mean, there were some things we were going to get into, but there's always other episodes to get into them.
Well, next week, in theory, Drew Fortier will be with us from the Lucid. He was supposed to be with us tonight. He had a bit of food poisoning. He hit me up this morning and was like, bro, I'm really sick. Can we push? And I was like, yeah. You know, I should have said no just to see what he would have done.
How metal is that, dude? Do it from the toilet, man.
Yeah, but knowing Drew, he would, and that's the real issue. Is I don't want Drew to have a shitty appearance with the Lucid right before release. So
right.
You know, so but Drew will be on next week to talk about the Lucid's new record, Saddle Up and Ride. I got to find out how Violent J from Insane Clown Posse ended up working with these guys. That is such a weird collab. And from what I hear, and I'm not going to break any news, but I hear there might be other collabs coming with Drew and Violent J.
Oh, well, that would be hilarious.
So, and who knows? Violent J may show up next week with Drew. I have asked for that. He said, "We'll see." That was the words. We'll see.
Should we dress up with our clown makeup?
If he would confirm it, I would wear the clown makeup.
I would too.
I would definitely go full Juggalo.
Yeah,
You know,
should we be
'cause I am a
Juggalo? You know
Juggalo.
he's going to be on.
Man, I love, dude. I'm an ICP fan. I don't care what anybody says. Who's Going Chicken Hunting's a great tune. Riddle Box is a great record. The Great Malenko is like one of my top 5 favorite rap albums of all time. I love me some Juggalo music. I'm a big fan, dude. I love them. I'm, you know me, dude. I love everything. But when they were hitting hard, when Insane Clown Posse was at their peak, they were also doing wrestling. And you know my love for wrestling. So that all played nicely together for my head. I was like, here's these guys, and they're on WWE, and they're making songs about murdering people. This is the best thing ever, man. Too good. But
didn't the WWE just get purchased by like Saudi Arabia or something?
It's in the process, and I hope that does not happen. But oof.
Do you think it'll stay the same? They just keep the same people in place, or
I you know what? I don't know. I'm torn. I'm torn 2 ways on this. There's a part of me that thinks or knows that the Saudis own Uber, and they're not making chicks get into the car in a burqa to get a ride. So they're staying the fuck out of it to make money. So there's that piece that makes me think that. Then there's the other side. They do these events twice a year called Crown Jewel. And even the American chicks that wrestle, they make them dress head to toe, like from their neck, everything's covered. And it looks like the old Batgirl suits, you know, from the 60s Batman. You know, it's still kind of hot. It is kind of hot, but when you're used to hot as balls Alexa Bliss, and she's got a thing wrapped around the top of her neck all the way down to her feet, it's like, that's not so good. Yeah, it's not so good. And it's like, if they're gonna do that, and the Saudis love the old wrestlers, so they're always bringing, whenever they do these stupid Crown Jewel shows, it's like, hey, look who it is, it's Goldberg. It's like, Goldberg, what year is this?
Hey, they wheel out Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah, if he's still alive, they probably would.
Man, when I played, this is terrible, but not terrible, but kind of lame, nerdy. But when I was a kid, I played with like the G.I. Joe guys.
Yeah.
And at one point, they made Sergeant Slaughter a G.I. Joe guy, and I was so fucking pissed off. I was like, oh, that's it. That, you know, it was like they totally had sold out, or like it was so goofy to me that they were combining, you know,
WWE and
man. I just remember that's when I hung up G.I. Joe over that in Sergeant Slaughter incident right there.
Did he have a big chin like Sergeant Slaughter?
It was just, it was like just a fat drill sergeant guy. I'm like, you know, if I was to actually buy him, I would have a tank run his ass over. That would be the first thing I would do.
That's too funny. All right, let's get the fuck out of here, man. My voice, I'm sure you can hear my voice is going. 4 hours of talking is enough. All right, well, we will be back next week. Drew 48 will be joining us to talk about the Lucid. I don't know who else will be joining us. Erik, you are where on this weekend? One more time.
Right. The Stephen Piercy Band will be in Key West, Florida for Saturday. We're going to open for Tesla and Queensryche.
Nice.
And it's Rock the Boat. No, I don't know. I forgot what this thing's called. It's a 5-day festival that starts tomorrow.
Okay, very cool.
From what I understand. And I should actually, you know what? I do have something here that I can pull up real fast.
Yeah, pull that up.
So
I know Pretty Boy Floyd opens it, right?
Right. The daily lineup starting Tuesday, January 17th. Enough's Enough is the first headliner. Jet Boy and Pretty Boy Floyd opening. Now, I am friends with the Jet Boy singer, and I saw them post something like major flight delays, and that's already got me my anxiety.
Better leave now.
Well, my flight sucks. Like, I have a red-eye flight that leaves out of LAX, which I don't live in Los Angeles. I live in San Diego.
Right.
So I gotta drive 2 hours up and park up there and take a red eye that leaves at midnight. And we will get into Key West sometime in the afternoon on Friday the 20th. I'm gonna miss my mom's 75th birthday. And from that point, we'll have a night to sleep. And then Saturday is the show. Autograph, I believe, opens the show. And then it's Stephen Piercy. And then it will be Queensryche. And Tesla's the headliner. Going backwards, the day before, which we might go and check this out, but Styx is going to be the headliner on Friday the 20th. Extreme, Striper, Black and Blue. Thursday, 38 Special, Slaughter, which was supposed to be Vince Neil, by the way.
Okay.
I don't know what
he
happened.
has COVID. He has COVID.
Is that what's going on?
That's what the rumor is. Me and Neely talked at length about, does he really have COVID, or is this their way to get the replacement singer into Motley Crue?
Well, is it a way to get the replacement singer into Motley? Well, that wouldn't affect this show because this was a solo.
No, but if they
show.
need him to be having COVID,
yeah, I guess. And I don't want to leave out though. Wednesday, I went backwards here, but Loverboy, Steven Adler, Honeymoon Suite.
Nice. I got a new girl now. She's a lot like you.
Got a new girl now, and she's a lot like you. A lot like you.
I always liked them. I like that song "Feel It Again" too. I feel it again.
Oh yeah. That's an awesome song too.
Yeah.
Helix is on this.
Give me an R.
R.
Oh. C.
Oh.
K.
C. Okay.
What you got? Rock. That's Helix.
What you gonna
right?
do?
Rock and roll. That's Helix, right?
I don't know.
I think that's Helix.
That. But I knew that, like, telling my mom I'm missing your birthday because we're opening for Tesla was okay with her because she remembers me going to see them in the
nice
80s. One of my first concerts was Tesla and Def Leppard.
She's like, okay, then good.
Yeah. Well, I tried to throw a party for her last night just because for a milestone birthday like that, I felt so bad not being there, but it sucks. My stepdad, they had COVID, missed Christmas.
Right.
Not a month later, he's got COVID again, ended up in the hospital last night. So she was schlepping him down to the hospital. These are my overly vaccinated parents, by the way, people who can't admit that this thing has made them worse off. And it's
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Okay.
Saying allegedly for the YouTube assholes that monitor this shit.
I got my mom.
Not because I believe.
Oh, not because you believe it. You're saying
not because I believe it, because the YouTube overlords, God forbid, you actually say that you believe that.
You're right. And you know what? All our stuff is transcribed, and they're looking at everything.
Yeah, sure.
Every little word.
Sadly, though, dude, I get shit bounced all the time from like 6 years ago, 8 years ago. I do.
Oh, old episodes.
Yeah, old episodes. They find the shit. So, but anyway, here, one last thing before we go. I would like you to acknowledge this guy because this is the guy that was worried about your health.
Well, thank you.
Girl, I'm not sure, but
yeah, T-Cuz, bro. I am doing quite well, thank you. And earlier in the show, if you missed it, I had a doctor's appointment this morning, coincidentally, and I was given a good bill of health. Apparently, my cholesterol, as you heard, was right where they wanted to be, and things were looking good. So you guys are stuck with me for a while.
There we go. Well, we will be stuck with you again on Monday, I'm assuming, when you get back.
That's right. And I'll have a full report for you, sir.
That's right. So let's get out of here. Everybody, as always, it's definitely appreciated that you listen. Please share it. I'll be posting the clips of this thing up in the next couple of days so that you guys have something to listen to during the week. Please, please, please share the show. Do us that solid. If you do anything about this show, not asking you to buy nothing, not asking you to do nothing other than click the button and say share and say, I like these guys. They're fucking funny. That's all we need, right?
That's right, Chris.
All right. So let's get out of here. For Chris Akin Presents, I am Chris Akin.
And I'm Erik Ferentinos.
And we are Dunzo. See you, folks.